Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jay Kohn. Janelle is off for the early news tonight. Being in the path of Harvey is scary enough, but imagine being 9 months pregnant right as the storm hit. For one Montana couple who recently moved to Houston, that nightmare became reality as Mother Nature and a new mother paired off in a race against time. Greg Smith and his wife Andrea moved to Houston not long ago. His wife was due to deliver her baby Saturday. The original plan, drive to the hospital, but thanks to Hurricane Harvey, that didn't happen. This is what the couple was greeted with on Sunday morning. Now, the hospital really isn't that far from their apartment in Houston, but obviously they couldn't get out with all that water. After calling 911 and even the National Guard, no one answered. Greg was making plans to try to deliver the baby himself, but fortunately the community stepped up to rescue the couple. Someone walked to the fire station, and something similar to a garbage truck was used to bring in and pick up the couple. After a short but memorable ride to the hospital, Andrea gave birth to baby Adrielle.
I think it was just quite amazing how the community of Houston kind of came together, and you see it now all over the news about people helping each other. And I think this is a really neat part of the country. I think people are, very good people and helpful to others. And I think that a storm and things like that really illustrates that. We certainly felt it with all the neighbors and everybody coming together to help us.
Quite the story there for Greg and his wife. Turning to news station's Bob McGuire. Bob, the rain in Texas really seems to have no end, and it's just mind-boggling amounts they've got.
Well, the flooding continues across most of that area, but let me show you. Pictures worth 1,000 words. Take a look at this. This is what we're talking about. Any way you can get out is what people were using in the greater Texas and Houston area. Look at that. It's just very, very bad. Now, how much rain did they actually get in the greater Houston area? A place called Cedar Bayou wound up measuring, believe it or not, 51.88 inches. It's just amazing. And as you can see here, they were using the airboats to get around, and that was doing very well across some of the suburban areas of the greater Houston area. So let's move on and show you what we have here. 51.88 inches outside of Houston in a place called Cedar Bayou. By Dayton, it was 46.08 inches of rain. Lake Charles, Louisiana, 13.25. And guess what? It's not over with yet. Houston still could pick up a little less than an inch of rain. The whole storm seems to be shifting more up the Mississippi River towards Little Rock, Arkansas. They're going to get 7.20 inches, and the whole thing now shifting a little more towards the east. Houston, the sun actually came out a little bit today, and that's the first time in about 6 days. They were very happy. Jay?
All right, thank you, Bob. What a contrast from the weather here in Montana and Texas, as Texas is working through record rainfall. Montana dealing with one of the driest years ever. Q2's Ed McIntosh picks up the story on an entire state that's now under a drought alert.
Where areas down into the Gulf are dealing with flash flooding, we're dealing with flash drought across Montana. Take the clock back to May 20th, and we had good conditions to start the spring. But since then, the entire state is under some form of drought, including exceptional drought up in northeastern Montana. A combination of hot temperatures and a lack of rainfall has pushed soil moisture levels down to short to very short in 98% of the state for topsoil and 90% of the state for subsoil moisture. So could there be any relief in the short term? The outlook for September from the Climate Prediction Center puts about an equal chance of above or below normal precipitation for the month. So it doesn't look like there's any major influences that could bring in a lot of rain. But the possibilities of hotter than average temperatures continue across the region and likely could carry into October as well.
All right, thank you, Ed. Air quality concerns continue here in Billings and across Montana as smoky skies cover pretty much the entire region. Here in Billings, we did notice the smoke thinning out a bit today. Q2's Samantha Harrelson standing by with us tonight with the latest on the smoke's impact. Sammy.
Well, Jay, right now, Billings is sitting at a moderate reading, a significant improvement from this time yesterday when it was at an unhealthy level. According to the National Weather Service, the Billings area will see a little relief from the smoke as we get into the nighttime hours due to shifting wind. Unfortunately, the relief may not last long, as fires burning east of the area will send smoke our way once the wind shifts. As we mentioned, at the current reading, outdoor activities are safe for most. I did speak with Mark Wall, the activities director for School District 2. He tells me they're closely monitoring any outdoor activities during this period of heavy smoke. If readings do go back up and reach the unhealthy category, Wall says they would likely cancel outdoor practices or move them inside. Jay?
All right, thanks, Sammy. Elsewhere in the state, smoke continues to be a big concern in the Seeley Lake area. That's where they're taking the brunt of it. Readings fluctuating there between unhealthy and hazardous. School in Seeley Lake canceled today. Officials hope they'll be able to resume classes early next week. The Helena area also dealing with unhealthy air quality at this hour. Now, under the unhealthy classification, look at that. Experts suggest that those with respiratory or heart conditions, as well as the elderly and children, should avoid prolonged exposure. As many as 1,000 homes in the Seeley Lake area have been evacuated since late Monday night due to the Rice Ridge fire, which has now grown to more than 30,000 acres in size. Residents have been told that they need to be on alert and ready to leave on a moment's notice. The evacuation order states that if residents don't evacuate, well, then they understand that should an emergency arise, emergency responders may not be able to help them. Although conditions continue to deteriorate in the Rice Ridge fire, fire bosses remain confident they can get a handle on the blaze before any structures are lost. Last night, some dicey situations along the fire lines when the winds shifted, forcing that fire towards several structures, which is why the new evacuation orders were necessary. The Rice Ridge fire started back on the 24th of July. It is believed to have been sparked by lightning. Medical marijuana is legal in the state of Montana, but the Billings City Council has now moved to prohibit medical marijuana operations within the city limits. Q2's Dustin Kleeman followed last night's meeting that went well into the wee hours of Tuesday morning. Dustin.
Good evening, Jay. Council voted in favor of the restrictions at 1:50 this morning. City staff does not know how many medical marijuana providers or dispensaries currently exist in city limits, but it has its eyes on at least 2, and it doesn't want any new locations. Also, the revisions will cease any current operations. The city will continue to prohibit dispensaries and sales of medical marijuana by providers within the city, likely pushing providers to the county level, something commissioners will have to address. Despite medical marijuana being allowed and recognized by the state of Montana, federally it is still illegal. The city cited that as a main concern. Testimony came in from both sides, leading to some fiery moments between opponents.
The voters of Montana said that medical marijuana dispensaries have a right to exist, but they did not say that those same dispensaries have a right to decrease the values of adjacent or nearby properties.
This can actually be a benefit to the city of Billings in tax revenue, employment taxes. This is a well-regulated industry now.
Moving it outside of town is not harmful to people with cards. It can't be. They can still get it. They can grow it. They can have it delivered.
So I really shouldn't be coming in here and telling you my moral perspective, which is that the state seal of Montana is on all these patients' cards. And they have voted for it not once, not twice, but have they voted on this 3 times?
We reached out to several dispensaries as well and hoping to hear back from them on their plans moving forward. The ordinance prohibits the transportation of medical marijuana to patients. That action would violate city code due to a lack of a business license. Jay.
All right, thanks, Dustin. The former supervising attorney for the Cody Public Defender's Office has been suspended for professional misconduct. The Wyoming Supreme Court recently suspended the license of Nick Badoon for 2 years. The High Court determined Badoon neglected several of his cases by failing to appear at scheduled hearings, leading to financial damages for his clients. In 2 cases, Badoon's clients had their cases dismissed due to his neglect. Badoon also took $500 from one client to obtain transcripts from a hearing, but those documents were never provided. Badoon was ordered to pay thousands of dollars in fines. A mountain lion apparently is roaming the streets of Absaroka. Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks issuing that warning today. The big cat apparently has been following deer into town. The photo you see here is of the actual lion captured on a resident's security camera in Absaroka. The animal was spotted around homes and businesses throughout the day and night earlier this week. Fish, Wildlife and Parks reports the mountain lion has not been acting aggressively. Right now, there's no plan to trap or kill the animal. FWP says deer are frequenting the town. That means so is the lion, because it appears that people are feeding the deer, which FWP points out is illegal. Still to come on tonight's 5:30 News, the mission to cement a teenager's legacy and help everyone else enjoy the outdoors, well, it's hit its next base. We'll show you. And coming up in sports tonight, Scott has details on the progress of Q2's Athlete of the Week, Mustangs phenom Hunter Green.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Kohn and Janelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green.